I actually finished my first 100-mile race before I finished a marathon race. I ran marathons in training for that ultra, but I never did a legitimate sanctioned marathon race until after I finished a 100-miler. And so I have a little bit different approach, and my journey with running is interesting. And one of the big things in ultras is you eat as much as you possibly can, and it makes sense. Like my watch said I burnt like 10 or 11,000 calories throughout the 100-mile race. Like that's a lot of calories. You need fuel to be able to finish something like that. So going into a marathon, I felt like I was very well versed in eating a lot. Now it seems like there's almost this pride of like I didn't eat something on my 20-mile long run. I think that's silly. I think it's actually stupid. It's like not. To me, it's not cool. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your body and you're running, right? But I don't think it's this cool thing to be proud of that you're not fueling your body. And I know some people struggle with it or they're trying to find what works best for them or food makes them sick. And that's what I was dealing with. And I have a gel that I really, really love now that has helped me do most of my running and most of my PRs. Because when I did that 100-mile race that I finished that I talked about, I was doing Roctane Goo. It just didn't work out for me. If it works out for people, that's great. It made me nauseous. I think I was like 60 miles into the 100-miler, and those gels were just starting to get to me. And my dad also brought me some McDonald's burritos, so maybe that had something to do with that. I remember eating a lot of that and then just goos. But I feel like I had been nauseous with those goos before, and I actually remember walking and I ran into this guy and he asked me how I was doing. He was in the race too, and I was like, "Oh, I'm nauseous," and he gave me some pill. I don't remember what it was, so hopefully it wasn't anything too crazy or illegal, but it did help me with nausea. So, anyways, I wish I knew what that was because that might be helpful later. So I then wanted to look into other gels because that was so miserable. And I have found a gel that works for me and has helped me run a sub 3 hour marathon. It's helped me run my 118 half marathon. It actually helped me win a 100-miler that I ran after that first 100-miler we were talking about. And the gels are Huma. So I'm a big Huma fan. We can talk about them for a second and why I think they're great. And personally, my favorite flavors, just to get that out of the way, is I love apples and cinnamon. There's no caffeine in that one. And then you got raspberry, which is a little bit of caffeine, and cafe mocha is the one with like a lot of caffeine. So those are personally my favorite flavors. And I guess if you're curious, you can look it up. But at least the apple cinnamon one, it has like 22 grams of carbs, 14 grams of sugar, 100 calories, half a gram of fat. So I think it's pretty decent. I'm actually going to start experimenting with other gels here pretty soon. I feel like I need to get more in. I'm now in this area where I'm trying to shoot for like 100 carbs an hour just because of some things I've seen and read out there, and I just want to see if that works for me. I have heard people like Courtney Dauwalter or ultra runners be like, it's not a race, it's an eating competition. And I do think there's some validity to that. I mean, obviously they know what they're doing because they're winning and setting course records. But also, like, again, I burned 10,000 calories in that 100-mile race. So you got to be able to consume enough to fuel you. So my racing strategy when it came to that sub 3 marathon, at least when it comes to nutrition, is here's what I did. Is I ate a really good meal about 13, 14 hours before the race. So meaning if the race started at 6, I don't know, it was at 7 maybe. Yeah. So I ate somewhere around like 5 p.m. the night before. And the reason for that is just to make sure I get that stuff out of my system. I go to the bathroom. I'm lighter. My dogs are bumping into the camera. They're just hyped right now. So I got to take them out in a minute, but we'll finish this video. So I wanted to get that stuff like processed, like digested and out of my system. So I was lighter, but also not having to use the restroom while I was running. So that was definitely a part of it. But what I did was in the morning I ate a little bit of oatmeal. I drank a ton of water right when I woke up. I like doing that first thing because I don't want to pee during the race, so I'm trying to drink a lot and then, pee, before the race starts, obviously. And then I took a gel 15 minutes before the race started, and then that's where my, clock kind of started with how often I was taking things. So I like to take a gel every 45 minutes, And so what happened is I had a gel right before, 15 minutes, and then the race starts, and then 45 minutes after the race starts, what I would do is take another gel, and then that means that an hour and a half in I took another gel, and then 2 hours and 15 minutes took another gel, and I think I might have taken one with even just like 10 minutes to go. I can't remember, but I read this book, and it talked about how like you can consume a gel, just put it in your mouth and spit it out, and not even eat it, and it does kind of trick your brain to have more energy or run faster or whatever. So I think I did do that in the sub 3 hour marathon run that I did, and so I just wanted to make sure I sustained, you know, my effort. I took a couple caffeine gels a little bit more towards the end just to kind of give me a little bit more boost, especially when it gets hard. And then what I actually did is I brought a water bottle with me, just like a plastic Fiji water bottle, and I had filled it with some electrolytes that I made sure I finished before the halfway mark, and then I threw that away. So that's my fueling strategy. And gels, I've just been able, like these Huma gels, I've been able to eat a lot and not feel nauseous. Eventually I get like sick of the sweetness, but I can pretty much mostly eat it. I wonder if they had like a more neutral flavor, if I would be, I don't know, I wouldn't get as sick, but at a certain point, especially in a 100 miler, it's like you get sick of eating in general because you're eating so much, but especially gels, they're just so sweet. At least for me, at like, you know, mile 70, I'm so over consuming gels. But they work for me, and I'll keep you guys posted on if I change my strategy. But I've been taking Huma gels for, I don't know, like 3 years now, and haven't tried anything else really. So I appreciate your time. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. This channel is really just about running. I'm trying to help people learn from my mistakes and hopefully PR or do whatever they want when it comes to running. But if you don't want to subscribe, that's cool too. I still hope you got something out of this video, and I hope I get to see you in another video sometime soon. Peace.